Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Jenny Aiello, and this is With Love, Jenny, a podcast where we meet ourselves right in the heart of our vulnerability and authenticity. In this sacred space where it's just you and I dive into real life, rich with wisdom and opportunities for deep healing. I explore what it means to truly connect to ourselves, to each other, and to something much greater than us all. In each podcast, I like to meet life right where it touches us most, in our tenderness, in our truth, in our struggles and our strength. So wherever you are on your journey, or whatever it is that you're carrying, no matter how light or heavy, just know I'm so grateful that you're here with me today. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's begin today's episode. Welcome. I'm Jenny. I'm here with my co-host, Kristen. And can I just stop for a minute and say that my heart is so happy that you're here with us today.
Yes, I just wanted to note we are new to the world of podcasting, and we are so grateful that you're on this journey with us. It means the world to us.
Absolutely. So we just need to start out saying thank you. Our hearts are filled with gratitude, and we hope you're getting something beautiful out of this podcast. So, okay, let's dive into today's story about the magic of manifesting. We're going to dissect the different parts that go into manifesting that you may or may not be aware of. There's actually a secret sauce here, and we're going to try to explore what that is in today's stories. So pretty much by now, everyone has heard the normal buzz about manifesting, right? And maybe you've even tried your own version of manifesting the life of your dreams. And I'm curious, what transpired? Have you ever wanted something and it felt as if it had already happened before it actually did? Like you actually feel it as it's already happened? Or have you ever had a time that you wanted something, didn't know how it would happen, and then suddenly it did? Have you ever felt so connected to someone or an experience or a place that you just knew it would grow into something bigger and better? Then there's the other experience that we might have had with manifesting. Have you ever felt a desire so strongly that you just knew it was supposed to happen and then it didn't? What was that like? Did it create doubt? So much of manifesting is about our belief. Did it cause us to quit believing in the possibilities of things manifesting? Did it challenge us to say, if it's to be, it's up to me? Did you ever have something that didn't come into existence that you wanted, and it caused so much disappointment that you just quit dreaming or manifesting things into your life? Or did life just sweep you up and take you into adulthood and you forgot about the fact that you could dream? So I have a short story and then I have a big story to share with you on our podcast today. I'm going to start with the short one. When I was 16 years old, most of my friends were getting new cars for their birthday, or so it seemed to me. I wasn't sure if I would, but deep down, I really hoped that I would too. My family was famous for trick wrapping. You know that when you put something small into a big box or multiple boxes, or you have to unwrap things, layer after layer. So on my 16th birthday, when I saw my birthday present on the kitchen table, I knew something was up. It was way too big to hold the key to a car. So I just knew it was trick wrapping. I was going to have to unwrap 5 or 6 boxes to get down to the little jewelry earring size box that would hold my new car keys. I tore off the wrapping paper and, well, let me just say it wasn't a trick box. It wasn't trick wrap. I got to my birthday present and it was a brand new Singer sewing machine. In that moment, it was hard for me to be grateful. It was hard to manage my own disappointment that it really was a brand new Singer sewing machine. So aside from the fact that I didn't get even a used car, I didn't like to sew, but apparently my parents thought it might be a good thing to have, I guess. Actually, in hindsight, they were right. I still have that Singer sewing machine. It's in my attic, but I did manage to use it a lot through the years. But it taught me a lot about myself, expectations, things that we want to manifest and why we don't. So aside from giving me a Singer sewing machine, they gave me a huge life lesson. And we're going to talk more about what I learned from that and continue to learn from my 16th birthday present. It took me a while after that, I have to say. There was some disappointment that could have prevented me from continuing to hope and have dreams. I learned that it wasn't in my natural rhythm to not dream. I was always daydreaming. I was dreaming little dreams. I was dreaming big dreams. As a child, I really wasn't attached because I felt like I was just a weird kid, you guys. Like I can remember laying in the grass, looking with my dog, looking up at the sky, and there would be those big popcorn-like clouds floating by. And I remember blowing a dream off my hand right into every single cloud. I would think, how many can I dream? If there was 15 clouds passing by in the sky, like 15 dreams had to be dreamed up right then. That was what I did in my pastime as a kid. So dreams were big for me, but I realized that they work best when we don't get attached to them. Like making a wish, dream a dream, and then let it go and wait. And maybe with anticipation for the day, one of them might come true. So for me, years later, I did get that new car. The timeline was representative of my dad's wisdom, knowing that I wasn't an experienced driver enough to even have a new car yet. As a matter of fact, I did crash the family used old Chevy Nova that I drove around. And so his wisdom was right. And it was probably safer for me to have a sewing machine. But years later, when I was off in college, I did get a new car, a good, reliable one. It wasn't the T-top cool cars that everybody got when they were 16, but it was a good adult, reliable vehicle for me. And I was very grateful for it. So it's been my experience that when I feel certain about something I want, and I want it from really deep down in my heart, and I feel it so deep in my bones that I just know it's going to happen, it typically does. Sometimes in ways I never expected or on a timeline that I didn't choose, but it does happen. And if it doesn't, what I manifest is the work that I need to do, causing a block to what it is I wanted. So today I am going to share a big dream, a big, powerful story about that flow of manifestation that can happen when we get out of the way. It is the power and the mystery and the magic all rolled up into what I call the intention of manifesting. So I'm going to share a story about something that happened at a time in my life where it showed no possibility of coming true. It was beyond anything I could imagine being possible for me to dream up that dream. And we're going to talk about this a little bit, but sometimes I think we come up with dreams, and sometimes I think dreams find us. And this is a story of a time when a dream found me. And then I saw all the reasons I couldn't have it happen. So we're going to dissect that process, and we're going to learn about how easy it is to sabotage what we want and then discover the hidden beliefs that limit what we create in our lives. All right, so this requires a little backstory. I was working with a sales team years and years ago. They were a team of leaders. They were the go-getters. And we met monthly to set goals and create challenges that put all of us on a course for achieving record-breaking results. Well, now I knew enough about my own motivation to know that not everyone is motivated simply by setting goals. I knew I was going to have to find something more interesting, juicier, bigger than a goal because I was going to be inviting them to step way out of their comfort zone and face fears and overcome obstacles. So for me, that motivation would come when I connected my goals to a dream. On my very first mastermind call with them, I asked each person to share a dream that would come true if they actually met their sales goals. Crickets. I mean, no one said anything. I asked again, and confusion was followed by their silence. It was actually shocking to me, but I found out that it's more common than I realized. They didn't have any dreams. And as I said, I grew up blowing dreams into puffy clouds every day, so I could not imagine that someone didn't know how to dream. So I had to stop and create a training that actually taught people how to dream dreams, little dreams, big bodacious dreams, dreams for others, dreams for themselves. And it became a motivational training that helped them push past their fear and their limiting beliefs in order to achieve those goals. The bigger goal was just to open their heart and find out what dreams had been tucked inside and why they stopped dreaming. Well, it worked. And little did I know, I would be the one who would benefit from that very training in the years to come. So fast forward, a few years later, I was actually doing that training for some corporate leaders. And what began as a little experiment into human behavior and self-sabotage ended up being a powerful life lesson for me. During this training, I asked the question. It's one of the many that I would ask to get that energy going about what are the dreams that we have. And I asked, what are the places in the whole wide world that you dream of going to in your lifetime? In other words, what's on your bucket list? Well, people began naming places that they would like to go. Disney World, Paris, Australia, New Zealand. Someone said, I'd like to see the Austrian Alps. Someone said the Great Wall of China. And I'm vigorously writing down all of these places that people dreamed of going. At some point, someone then yelled, Machu Picchu. Well, I was writing these places down, but I couldn't even understand what she said. So I turned to her and said, could you repeat that one? And she said again, Machu Picchu. Is this one word or two? How do you spell it? What is it? Is it a food? Is it a place? What is Machu Picchu? And she said, it's an ancient sacred site in Peru. Well, have to admit, I'd never heard of Machu Picchu before, and nor did I know how to spell it. So after she spelled it out, I purposefully made a note of it because I was intrigued. It lit something up inside of me. It unlocked something. I had to wait back then until I was home and with my computer because back then we didn't have smartphones. And I did a research on Machu Picchu. And the minute that I saw a picture of the sacred ruins of Machu Picchu, whatever was energized in me was now a full-blown dream. It was a dream that found me. I didn't go looking for it, but it found me. And I knew I have to go to Machu Picchu. I couldn't understand why. I didn't really know where it was. I didn't know how I would ever figure out how to get there. But I knew deep down in my spirit that I was supposed to go to Machu Picchu. So now I need to say, hang with me here, because at the end of this story, you're going to see how all these parts came together. A few years went by. I was in Whole Foods buying some groceries, and I was walking out the door. The wind came through the door and swept across a rack of magazines, causing one in particular to wave its front page at me as if it was saying, hey, take me with you. None of the others moved, but that page was just flapping away in the wind. And I noticed. So I was like, okay, these were free publications, and this one was about wellness. So this was at a time in my life that I was facing a lot of stress and hardship and challenges for me personally and for my family. So I thought, okay, there must be something really good in this magazine about wellness. I picked it up, put my groceries in the car, and before ever leaving the parking lot, I opened this publication. I read every word of every page, totally expecting to find the holy grail of wellness that I was meant to find that day. Instead, well, it was okay, but nothing stood out. Nothing really got my attention or held enough interest for me to say, that's why I picked it up. A little bit disappointed, I tossed that publication in the back seat. I drove home, put my groceries away, and went on with my day and my week. But that weekend, I started cleaning out my car. And there on the floorboard of the back seat was that publication that I had tossed aside. And to my surprise, I saw the back cover, which is the only page I didn't read in that whole publication. And there on the back page of it was a picture of a very dear friend of mine and another picture behind him of the ruins of Machu Picchu. I kid you not. I could hardly believe my eyes. There in front of me was my friend Eddie, and he was taking a group of like-minded people on a spiritual journey to Peru. Well, this is it, right? Like all the synchronicities. First, the dream found me, and now this magazine waved me down and flagged me down as if the universe was like, Jenny, you have to read this. And then I missed it, but then I found it. And not only did I find it, here's my friend. I wouldn't have to go alone and figure the logistics. He had the whole trip mapped out. It was just so meant to be that I got so excited. And then what happened next is what happens to so many of us when we have a big dream. Reality kicks in. Our life circumstances at that moment gave me every reason to admit that it was impossible for me to make this trip, which was going to happen in 4 or 5 short months. I didn't have enough time to save that money. I don't even know that I had time to think about that trip over the next 4 or 5 months. We were going through a very logistical reality of difficult family circumstances. My parents who lived with us were needing my help and care. My children had some extraordinary things going on in their lives, some good and some scary and some not so good. We had a business that I had to run with my husband. We had all these other responsibilities that I carried in my day-to-day life. And it just made me feel like it's impossible to even consider such a huge trip. But my soul, it felt like it was already there. I couldn't even bring my soul back from Machu Picchu to do these responsibilities. I tried to stay open to the remote possibility, but then there was that financial aspect of it. We had expenses coming up that were unexpected and stretched us beyond a healthy and stable financial position. So spending any of our savings or money on such an indulgent and unnecessary trip at that particular time felt very selfish and very irresponsible. Even though everything in me felt myself going, with my friend Eddie leading the way, I self-sabotaged that with my own limiting beliefs. So I want to stop here and talk a little bit about that process and what happens when you get inspired to dream, then what happens when you get overly attached to it to the point that you can't find peace without having it. It's one thing to dream big, it's another to feel incomplete without it. So do you dream a dream to fill up a hole inside your heart, or do you dream a dream because it came from inspiration? They're very different energies. And when it comes to manifesting, you've got to do diligence, because when it's trying to fill up a hole in your heart, it's at risk of being able to be manifested, because the hole in your heart is going to also protect itself and throw roadblocks up. So it's kind of asking yourself, are you dreaming out of scarcity or out of freedom and abundance? And that's what I want to kind of stop and ponder and ask yourself questions like, have you ever been disappointed that something you really thought would happen didn't? And then what did you do? Or did you give up? Did you stop believing in the magic of possibilities? Did you sell out on a dream because reality sunk in? Or did you talk yourself out of receiving a dream because it felt too big and maybe you felt unworthy of it? So the law of attraction and manifesting and dreaming big dreams, it's all the same thing. And I believe the universe wants us to have it all. I think the universe really wants to play with us and give us everything we could ever imagine, but it's us that blocks it. So, Kristen, pipe in. I can see the wheels are turning on your side of this. What are some of the things that you have questions about?
Well, the whole time you were talking, it reminded me of a story that I haven't thought about in a long time, and it's a really quick story. But I used to love taking art classes when I was younger, and I became obsessed with drawing this same storybook-looking house over and over again. And mind you, I grew up in an apartment sharing a bedroom with my two sisters, and I just loved this house. Never thought I would live in it one day. Nothing like that. I just loved drawing the house. And today, I literally live in a house that looks like a storybook house. Like, I had absolutely no attachment to that dream. It was such an innocent thing, I guess. And then these dreams get in the way that are ego-driven. And I just keep thinking, like, what if the dream really would be beneficial for you? So how do you take your ego out of it? Or if the dream is ego-driven, it's not really your dream you should be going after. Does that make sense?
Yeah, these are all really important questions, because where they come from matters, right? That came from the innocence of a child looking for something that your heart and soul longed for. Maybe was a pretty house that you could live in, a storybook fairy tale ending. That's the innocence and the beauty of our childlike wonder. And it's a lot of times then forgotten. You put the sketches aside, and then all of a sudden remember, oh, wow, so many things that I think we have that heart's desire and we dream up a dream and then we let it go. We don't get attached to it. I think when you talk about the ego and its dreaming, it's when we start expecting it or feeling entitled to it because we thought it up.
Right.
All the ways we get in. And that's when I talked about the magic sauce, it's what not to put in this recipe is attachment, or is the ego driving that attachment, right? Like, if I do these things every day, if I picture it every day, if I meditate every day, I can make it happen. You're actually blocking your connection to the universe, because it will pave the way and make it happen. Are you trusting that, or are you controlling that? Is your ego determining what it looks like instead of allowing it to look like what it's supposed to, that actually matches the frequency that's in your soul's desire? There's so many little small, tiny ingredients that go into making dreams come true, and doing that in partnership with God, the universe, source. Because when we get out of the way, oh my goodness, like it literally feels like magic. It literally feels like magic. Well, let me go back and share with you the rest of this story, and then we'll go in and talk about this even more. During this time in my life, I had two very dear friends, and we met for dinner every month. We supported each other through whatever was going on. We'd laugh together. Sometimes we'd cry together. Mostly we just shared what's going on in our life and gave each other a lot of support. So, of course, this particular month, I shared this mysterious meeting I had of Machu Picchu years earlier, and then the magazine that flagged me down as I was leaving Whole Foods. And then our friend Eddie, which they knew, was leading the group, and how it just felt like the universe was saying I should go. And of course, they knew as much as I knew all the reasons I couldn't go, because they knew what I was faced with in our family life. But as I talked through that with them, I came to a place where I made peace with the circumstances. I didn't feel resentful. I think sometimes we can get to that moment of reality and then resent reality. And I didn't want to feel that. I didn't want to feel like my life was robbing me of my dreams, because that's just such a low energy to feel. So as I talked through it, I realigned. And I just said the invitation is not part of my priorities and values right now. And I made peace with that. And so my no turned into a not now, which left me with a glimmer of hope for sometime down the road, I might get to go to this sacred land. And I felt relief, actually, when I let go. I just let go. It's like, not now. I'm not saying I can't go, but I can't go right now. And I'm sure there will be another opportunity later. And the next day, I was reviewing that whole process of surrender with my mentor and coach, Carol, and she honed in on 4 key questions for me to answer. And so I'm going to share those with you, because if you've ever had a dream, or maybe you do right now, these are good for you to kind of revisit. For me, they deepened that place of surrender and peace. The first was, can you still hold on to the feeling that you had when you first saw Machu Picchu on your computer screen? Because you were experiencing a vibrational match in that moment. And that moment is the seed of manifesting. That moment held the frequency of your dream. So your job now is to keep your energy in alignment with your desire, and not let that disappointment or anger or disillusionment of reality extinguish the dream. So that question, can you hold on to the feeling that you had so that it's a vibrational match of what you want to manifest? Keep that alive. Let go of the how or the details or the when or the where. Just keep the feeling alive. The second question, she said, are you willing to let go of this dream today and still be okay, not angry and resentful? And I said, yes, I had done that part. The third question was, are you able to change your current no to a not now, but someday? And I said, yes, I was able to do that too. And it helped me let go with grace and ease. And I was no longer a victim of some cruel joke from the universe. It allowed my energy and my dream to stay alive. The fourth thing she asked me, is there any part of you that doesn't feel worthy of that investment of time, energy, resource to go on a trip that was entirely optional in the first place? Whew. Well, I got stuck on question number 4. I had to ask myself that hard question before I really let go. I wasn't so sure about that one. Was I worthy to receive that? So Carol invited me to go deeper. If money was not a problem, would you go on this trip? Immediately, I felt ashamed. I felt a feeling of shame, like it would be so selfish for me to leave my family and my responsibilities and all the things that I did and just take an indulgent trip. I felt I was consuming energy, imposing on others to take care of my family, my home, my business, and my responsibilities, while I just flitted off to this sacred land to discover who knows what, right? And it was too much. And as I shared that with Carol, she said, then it will never happen. Oof, another big woo. So, as she asked me those questions and challenged me to dig deeper into my beliefs and my emotions and find my truth about what was showing up around this trip and why I couldn't go, I learned so much about myself. I learned about a major self-worth block that would prevent me from ever manifesting what was actually possible in my lifetime. And the good news is that once I discovered that for myself, I brought that limiting belief into my conscious awareness, and then I had the power to change it. So I want you to be thinking, what do you feel worthy of? What are the limiting beliefs that you have around dreaming big dreams or looking at what you're capable of manifesting in your life? And then look for those little quiet beliefs that are so rigid, you don't even see past them. Another awareness that I had was that whatever we have going on in our lives right now, whatever challenge, whatever blessing, whatever bank balance or job or friends, everything in our life right now in this moment is a direct reflection of how well we value ourselves. We attracted all of it. You're a vibrational match to everything around you. It's kind of like having a thermostat setting. Like money is a tangible way to look at this. If your savings account is sitting at $200, you have the ability to say, wow, I want to turn the thermostat up to $2,000. Turn it up again to $20,000. Can you feel that? Can you feel the connection to that actually being your savings account balance? And that can translate to your energy, to your resource, to your dreams. At the point that that belief stops, it's the point you no longer might feel worthy of it or believe in its possibility. If you can't imagine it, you won't ever experience it. So it begins with your ability to feel whatever it is you desire as if you already have it. And I gotta say, not from a place of entitlement, not from a place of I deserve it. Those are actually limiting beliefs. That's actually fear and control. It's coming from ego. So we want to bring that dream way down into our heart and energize it with the belief that it's possible and you are capable of receiving it. Before I close this story out and open up for more discussion, I have to tell you the rest of the story. It's the juiciest part. A few months later, I had just come home from a very long, challenging, difficult day that involved getting my son some of the help that he needed. My phone rang. It wasn't just one, but both of my friends checking in to see how that day had gone. They knew it was a hard day for me. I updated them with the good news that we had needed to hear that day. And part of that was that we were able to get my son the help he needed. And then we celebrated that. After that, she said, we have an update for you on something that we did, and we hope you're not mad. And I'm like, what in the world? What in the world did you do? They told me they contacted our friend Eddie, and they paid for my trip for the one spot that was left to be with the group that was going to go to Machu Picchu. Oh my gosh, you all, still brings tears to my eyes. I was stunned. I was humbled. I had never been given a gift like that, and I had no idea how to receive it. I asked them, why in the world would you do that? And they said, Jenny, we need you to go on this trip. We need you to be okay and to fill your soul with light that you give to us so freely. We need you to go and ground yourself on a spiritual path so you can take care of all the people that you're taking care of right now, including us. It's a gift to us and to all who know you for you to have this support right now. I don't know if I've ever experienced a feeling of humbleness and gratitude and love that was given so freely and unconditionally to me in one moment, in one unexpected moment. So after that, there was a series of other angels who paved the way for me to go on this trip. It literally took a team of people, my parents, stepped up, my husband, who was more than happy to hold down the fort and take care of all the many different challenges we were juggling together. I actually found out I had enough airline points that my flight only cost me $40 round trip. Other friends stepped forward to give me the support I needed, and before I knew it, I was off to Machu Picchu. I was in Peru for 11 days. It was indeed the most spiritual thing I have ever done for myself. My heart and soul were filled with gratitude, with joy, with love, with expansion, with learning, being in a different culture, meeting different people. I had so much appreciation for the gift that I received. And when I returned, I was committed to paying that gift forward. 2 things had to happen for me to go on that trip. 1, I had to believe it was possible and let go of the how. 2, I had to learn how to receive the very thing I was manifesting, to know that I was worthy of it. It didn't happen the way I expected it to. I didn't expect that others would step in to help me so much. I didn't expect that when I surrendered control and let go of the expectations with grace and embraced the peace that came with the letting go, a bigger plan would unfold, and it yielded more growth than I ever could have dreamed up. So if you want to go deeper into some of these subconscious beliefs and desires, you're going to want to continue this conversation. But before we do that, Kristen?
This is not the first time I've heard this story, and it amazes me every time. And this time the question popped in my head, would you have experienced the depth of spiritual connection on that trip if the way it unfolded differently to get you there?
Absolutely. Because 1, the first gift I received was learning how to receive. I would have paid for this trip and just made it happen myself and experienced Machu Picchu in a beautiful way. But the events leading up to it, the gift of going was wonderful, but the gift of how I got to go is something I still carry in my heart every single day. Every single day. It wouldn't have been the same if I had just easily made it happen, or even struggled to make it happen, or stretched myself, or created debt, or I would have carried shame with me on that trip if I put it on a credit card, and paid for it forever. I was free to go and just be in that space, in the receiving of the ability to go in the first place, allowed the receiving of what Peru offered me every single day of that trip.
I just keep thinking too, how could someone not look at that story and think that God or whoever your higher power is wasn't involved? I mean, because you allowed and you trusted something more than your ego to bring something into fruition. Like, it's just so beautiful.
It really is. For me, I do believe that, for me, it's God. Whatever you all want to call that is fine. But we're not here struggling without some higher power guiding us, blessing us, cheering for us, healing us, allowing us to experience what it is we need to allow into our lives in order to learn and to heal and to grow. I don't have that capacity to know what it's like to not believe in anything, because I just have always believed, but I haven't always interacted with that higher power in a way that felt interactive in this. It did. It was God's grace was through the hearts of my friends and my family. That love permeated into my reality. And one day I would have spent 11 days surviving a lot of hard things in my life. But the next day, it became possible for me to experience what God wanted me to experience at another time and space and place, and all that other things that I worried about and all the hard things we were dealing with just melted away. And I believe it was a foreshadowing. And in another podcast, I have a story within that story that I'm going to share about something that happened in Machu Picchu. But the entire 11 days that I was there, what unfolded for me was this partnership, this knowing that I didn't have to do this by myself, and what seemed impossible for God was not. And if I put my trust and belief strong enough in a higher power and allow it to unfold in a way that I trust will serve my greatest good, whatever I needed from that would be what I got, no matter what.
Well, I also believe too that God planted that dream in your head because he knew the gifts you would get from it.
Yeah. And they were needed. It was his gift to me to say, you're going to need to know some really important things. And I have a way for you to learn that. And I had to first recognize the energy that I felt in my heart when I asked her to say, what did you just say? Machu Picchu, and I felt it. And it took years to manifest. It took a few years went by and it circled back to me. And it's like, now you need it. Now you need to go, here's the ticket. Here's the guy that's going to lead the group. Here's the way I want you to handle that. And I couldn't, but God could. And it's hard sometimes to allow ourselves to trust and believe in something outside of our control, outside of what we can do. It's hard because it can lead us to disappointment sometimes. But that's if we're attached to what it's supposed to look like. And so if you feel disappointed because you didn't get the car, you got a sewing machine, in hindsight, go back and look, because I bet you did get that dream at a timeline different than what you thought it would be. And I bet you did get some lessons and some wisdom that you were needing more than what you thought you needed. So sometimes we do get exactly what we need. And we do have a universe that has our back. We do have a God that takes care of us. And we just have to get out of the way.
Let go, let God.
Yeah, right? So I hope that you all have gleaned some wisdom from today's stories. There was a lot in today's episode. And I do hope that you let your heart dream again. I hope you believe that anything is possible if you keep your heart and mind open. And I hope that if you have closed yourself off from believing in something greater than you, or in the magic and the miracles that can happen every day, if you will soften your grip on whatever is guarding and protecting you from feeling disappointment or disillusionment, I think you're going to see results. And I hope that you reclaim that childlike wonder, that you put your dreams in the big puffy clouds and know that they're being delivered to someone or something somewhere, and that you remember you are so worthy of the dream that's planted in your heart, no matter how small or how big it is. And that you remember that you wouldn't have been given a dream in the first place if there wasn't a way for it to come true. We do live in an abundant universe. We can witness miracles every single day. We just have to get out of the way and be ready to receive it with love. Kristen and I are going to talk more over in the blessing room and get even more in detail with how you can get out of your way from blocking the things you want to manifest. So we'll see you over in the blessing room on Patreon. And if you've had enough for today and you don't want to do that, we'll see you back here in 2 weeks, where we're going to talk about the vulnerability that comes through our brokenness. Take care. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you found a spark of wisdom to carry with you, and maybe even a deeper invitation to heal and grow and transform through your own beautiful story. Or maybe this episode made you think of someone who could use encouragement. And if so, I hope you will share it with them. If you'd like to learn more about working with me or attending one of my healing retreats, coaching programs, and other offerings, you can visit my website at jennyaiello.com or email me directly at jenny@jaiello.com. You'll find all the links in the show notes. If today's episode touched you, it would mean the world if you would leave a review or share it with someone who might need it, or just reach out and let me know how it landed for you. I'd love to hear from you. I'm building something special here. Real stories, real life, real connection. One episode, one heart, and one story at a time. As always, with love. Oh, and this is the legal message, but mostly a message from my heart. And I just need to share this with you right now. Please know this podcast is offered solely for educational and entertainment purposes. If you find yourself triggered due to anything that was shared in this podcast, please seek professional help. This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for mental health services. While I am a professional life coach, I am not a psychotherapist, nor am I a mental health clinician. So if you are struggling emotionally, please seek help, because you matter, you are important, and most of all, you are worthy of doing this work, the work that leads you to a better and healthier place. Okay? All right. Thank you. And please always make enough time to take care of yourself, and do so with love.